Iran is claiming a series of tactical hits against key American military assets. Iranian media has released images of what it says is a downed US fighter jet widely assessed to be an F-15E Strike Eagle and allegedly captured the pilot. Separately, Tehran says it intercepted a long-range US cruise missile with a heavy warhead over Zanjan. In another escalation, Iran claims it struck a critical US missile defense radar at Prince Sultan Air Base in Saudi Arabia, part of the THAAD system. While independent verification is still awaited, these claims suggest Iran's ability to challenge US air and missile dominance in the region. The reported loss of F-15E Strike Eagle is a face loss for US operations. The F-15E is a long-range all-weather strike platform designed for deep penetration missions and precision targeting. It forms a key part of US offensive capability in region, capable of carrying heavy payloads and conducting sustained combat operations. Losing such an aircraft raises questions on American claim of complete air dominance. The F-15E Strike Eagle is designed to operate in all weather conditions. It combines air-to-ground precision strike capability with air-to-air combat strength. With a long operational range, high payload capacity and advanced targeting system, the F-15E plays a critical role in sustained offensive operations. Iran's claims of intercepting a high-value US cruise missile and striking a THAAD-linked radar system points to a direct challenge to the American missile defense architecture. The AN/TPY-2 radar is central to tracking and intercepting ballistic threats, and any damage to it could degrade early warning capabilities. If confirmed, these incidents suggest Iran is not only defending its airspace but also targeting critical nodes of US regional defense systems, expanding the scope of the conflict beyond conventional strikes. On this issue, I am joined by Commodore Dr. Ashpinder Singh Bahal. Thank you very much, sir, for joining me once again. Let's decode, sir, how did these guys shoot down an F-15 when America is claiming that, their entire air system has been wiped out? And capturing a pilot is a second question I'll have, but how did they, what are they using? First tell me that. What are Iranians using? What are they left with? 12,000 bombs have been dropped on their country.
Absolutely, Kartikeya. Thank you and Jai Hind for inviting me. First and foremost thing is that if you look at Trump's statement strategically that their navy is gone, their air force is destroyed, and their air defense systems are wiped out, then how come the American aircraft and the missile systems are getting shot down in Iran? So this clearly implies that America and Israel are underestimating the resilience capability of Iran. Now, Iran, in terms of air defense systems, has Bawar. First, I'll cover the indigenous systems that it has. Bawar 373 with a 300 kilometers range. Arman medium range air defense system, which is 120 kilometers. Khordad medium range system, 150 kilometers, which is a mobile air defense system. It can be moved from one place to another. And then we have S-300 given by Russia, which is about 300 kilometers range. And there are also reports that S-400 has been given to them, which has a range of 400 kilometers. And 2,000 to 5,000 those man-pads. Man-pads means man-portable air defense systems, means they can be fired from your shoulder. They are carried by human beings, and they are basically heat-seeking missiles, and which have a range of about 4 to 6 kilometers, altitude of 2 to 4 kilometers. Now, even if we take into account the losses that have been suffered by Iranian air defense systems in the last 34 days of war, we can still safely say that there would be some air defense systems which would still be functioning, primarily because it may not be yet have been able to be targeted effectively. And it always happens like that in war, where 100% target systems are rarely ever been destroyed when one country attacks another, even if it has a large air superiority and even if it has a large number of aerial systems that can destroy it. So we are looking at a time and place in war when, after so much of destruction has been caused in Iran, they are able to claim that they have shot down an F-15E. Now, there is also a report, the Iranian media is claiming big. They are saying one F-15E and one F-35 have been shot down in 12 hours. But let's look at F-15E itself. They have two pilots, one pilot, and the second is a weapon systems operator. So if F-15E is shot down, then there would be two officers or two air crew who would have ejected in the Iranian territory. That is first. Secondly, I heard the Iranian media, I saw even the clip where they were asking their people to capture alive. They didn't want these guys to be killed because it'll be tremendous psychological and
Absolutely.
informational and propaganda value if they capture them alive. And when a pilot ejects, what does he have? He has a survival kit after the ejection when he comes down by parachute, in which there is a personal locator beacon. And there are food for some days, food that doesn't get spoiled, as well as other survival equipment that he has. And he also has a satellite communication device. So America would have launched, as I see it, UH-60, which is a combat search and rescue aircraft, helicopter. And normally it carries about 11 combat troops, but in combat search and rescue, probably it'll carry about 4 to 5 crew, and the rest would be looking for these pilots. And they would also be supported by their drones, MQ-9 Reapers, and probably by a Hercules aircraft. So what they do is they go on the last reported position of the F-15, fly over it, identify the personal locator beacon's distress signal, which is received by their emergency responders, and then home on the helicopter home ons to that location and winches the pilot up, or lands close to it and the pilot comes inside, or there is a stretcher in case the pilot is injured. So we haven't had reports yet what have happened to the pilots, but it has also been reported in certain sections that the pilot has been captured, but whether one or two, that is not yet known. Now the fact that comes out is, however much you may have air dominance, but you cannot destroy the large number of infrared search and tracker systems which would be operating in the enemy territory, which do not emit any radar waves. And they would then be able to identify the location of aircraft that is coming up to the ranges of 150 kilometers.
Okay.
And since America thinks that they have air dominance, they send aircraft in the height bands anywhere from 4 to 5 kilometers, which are easily picked up and by anything from a manpad or from these infrared search and tracker systems, and then you can home on your weapon systems onto them. So the Americans, by their arrogance also, if you look at it, the Israeli
Do you
pilots have
think
not been shot down.
why? Achha, that's a very important thing. Why?
Exactly. Why? Because they are following the correct tactics. They are using standoff weapon systems. They don't do search and strike missions. They don't overfly the area and hang around in the battlefield like the Americans do or are doing currently. Now they will not do it. After the aircraft are getting shot down, they will not do it. But this sense should have come to them that you cannot operate on the tactical battlefield for long duration time. What you should do is like what the B-1 bombers and B-2 bombers or the B-52s are doing.
Come and go.
They fire a joint air to surface standoff weapon system, standoff missile, which you showed, cruise missile I saw in one of your pictures. And that is actually AGM 158, which is fired from about 370 to 1000 kilometers, and it has 1,000-pound warhead. The one that you were showing in the pictures,
Yes.
which has been intercepted
Yes.
by the Iranians. So this means if they are intercepting the missiles, some of their medium-range air defense systems are still active. It could be S-300 or it could be indigenous systems.
So which means that they must have built tunnels, they must have camouflaged them well, and maybe the intelligence assessment of the numbers must have been really on the wrong side. It means that they must have produced much more than what the Americans were thinking.
Absolutely. Like you rightly pointed out, the Americans have started now saying that they have only expended 50% of their
Correct.
ballistic and cruise missiles. Whereas, actually speaking, Iran claimed about 5 days back that they have used 30% only, and 70% of their weapon systems and missiles are still there. They are still making those weapon systems underground missile sites and underground drone centers, and then they are producing them. They even showed photographs and images of aircraft, F-4 Phantoms taxiing in and out of those tunnels. So it is extremely important to understand that these tunnels are now at 200 meters and some of them go right up to a kilometer. There is no weapon system in the world that can go down below 200 feet. Even the GBU-57 massive ordnance penetrator can only penetrate up to 180 feet to 200 feet. And most of these are under concrete, reinforced concrete shelters, which implies it's not just the depth. but it
Okay.
is also a very strong casing provided to these tunnels.